Good. Hey, welcome. Good. Okay, while everyone's coming in, I will be right back. Or first, can someone verify that they can hear me okay? All right. Okay, good. I will be right back. I'm going to leave this open just to try and get cooler air circulating.
Sorry, but I do have an interview at 3. I'll go
Okay, all right. Sorry about that. Okay, hey, how's everybody doing? All right, good. All right, we're going to give people another minute to join. While we're waiting, why don't you put in, how was your Mother's Day weekend? Did you do anything special? Also, what have you made any interesting purchases lately? Any interesting COVID purchases? And what have you been watching this week? Good. Got a lot of people coming in. This is great. So our shows, as I mentioned last week, we finished up with Avengers, right? So the Marvel Comic Universe. So now we watched in the past week Dead to Me Season 2, as well as Waco. We're almost done Waco. I think we've got one more episode to be able to finish that out. So Dead to Me Season 2 and Waco. How's Blacklist, Tony? What do we got? Let's see. Yeah, Jamie, they're cool. Oh, thanks, Ryan. Yeah, Dead to Me is pretty funny. It's definitely a funny show. And Ryan, how's it back being at home in Michigan? You were out in Boston for weeks, so I imagine you're enjoying being finally home. Oh, wow. Tony, I just saw your comment. Oh, I heard, Cordry, I heard Little Fires Everywhere is great. That's making its way up our list. Yeah, we watched Big Little Lies. At least my wife watched most of it last season. I think I caught the tail end. Yeah, what kind of stuff happened over Mother's Day weekend? How did you guys celebrate, especially in light of kind of our current circumstances? Life at Two. Wow, interesting. I've never even heard of that. I'll have to check that out. I've heard of Outlander and heard that's good as well. So keep that coming. We'll get started. We've got a good number of people here. A beautiful day here in DC, Virginia area. It's I think going to be or is 85, 87 degrees, which was remarkable because all week it's been a little chillier, like 50s. It started creeping up into the 60s, and it just made this jump. So pretty wild. So yeah, for those of you in the area, I hope you're able to get outside and enjoy the weather. Although rumors the Northeast is going to get hit with some major thunderstorms rolling through the entire coast, supposedly. So that could be really interesting. Apple pancakes, Bridget. Those sound interesting. Very cool. Yeah, I saw, Billy Joe, that you guys had snow. That's unbelievable. That May 10th, was it? And still snow. That's just incredible. Oh, very cool, Bridget. That's great. All right. Well, everyone's checking in. This is great. Our numbers are still climbing, so we'll wait for a few more people. But let's get started. And actually, I've been thinking about kind of how we start out our time together, and it kind of reminded me of a tradition in, I guess, the Catholic Church and the Anglican Church called Vespers. And typically, you would have morning Vespers or evening Vespers. And the idea behind Vespers is that it's a reflective time that the whole congregation is taking part in together. So I kind of figured that we could start calling this time of reflection that we have at the beginning of Vespers, when we reflect on how the virus and the pandemic have impacted us, and then other things that have happened in the course of the week that are things that we want to reflect on, that we want to take time for and hold space for. So welcome to Vespers. We'll start that off. Just to give an update on where things stand from a COVID-related standpoint. Right now, we have 15 people that we support have tested positive. And again, that's pretty evenly split right now between DC and Virginia. I believe it's 8 in one, 7 in the other. With one person we support hospitalized. So the hospitalizations are down, which is positive. I think the numbers are slightly up from last week, unfortunately. And then on the staff side of the equation, we've got 19 of our fellow team members that have tested positive for COVID with 2 hospitalizations. And of course, we lost Mo last week. And I just want to thank the marketing team for doing a nice post on Facebook in honor of Mo. And Kwaku and a couple members of the team, I believe, visited with their family on Monday and dropped off some support from SJCS and shared our love with them. So so that's we're still obviously in the thick of it. We are still experiencing high risk. All of our residential programs in DC remain sheltering in place. In Virginia and other places, we're doing 12-hour shifts. In Tennessee, I believe we're doing that to minimize staff contact with people that we support. And we all understand, and certainly I understand, and the board understands, leadership team, just what a sacrifice that is, that people that are volunteering to either do the 12-hour shifts or they are sheltering in place. And just want to say thank you to all of you for being such amazing representatives and ambassadors, and just embodying the mission, and having such concern for the people that we care for and serve. It's interesting, people have been reaching out after town halls and asking questions and things like that, and just sharing concerns. And the number one concern that's come up is always around the health and safety of the people that we support. And I think that just is so representative of our team and how seriously they take their roles in being that line of defense for those that we care for. So I want to just thank you all for doing that. That is so incredible. And then, unfortunately, we also had 2 people pass away this week that we support, one in DC and one in Martin. Neither of them were COVID-related passings, but their losses are felt just the same. One gentleman, Mr. Clyde Gibson, I've got a couple of things just to read here about the 2 individuals that passed away. Mr. Gibson was loved by many. He had the best smile, good sense of humor, a hearty appetite, and an incredibly sweet person. He loved to be active in the community and enjoyed parties. Mr. Gibson will certainly be missed by all, especially his roommates, his housemates, and as they've been friends for the last 30 years. And Kim Walker shared that she's worked with Mr. Gibson since the 90s, said that she's going to miss the daily hugs he would give. And from what I understand, Mr. Gibson had been with us from the outset of residential programming in DC, which is just amazing. And then, unfortunately, another woman named Patsy, she passed away. She had celebrated her 70th birthday, and then after fighting cancer for 10 years, and she is in a home in Martin, and unfortunately, she passed away, and we lost her to her battle of cancer. She had been with our organization in some way, shape, or form since the 70s, when it was Easter Seals, and then that evolved to CDS and then SJCS. She was a real trooper, and George had wrote that he had the privilege of getting to know her over the past few years, and she always had a smile and upbeat spirit, no matter how great her discomfort. She had been in a rehabilitation facility the past week, and they had actually started talking about discharging her, but then she took a sudden turn for the worse, and the cancer, unfortunately, had spread to her bones and her brain. Gratefully, she had her sisters with her as she passed. So, the reality is that, because of the work that we're involved in, we're going to see people that pass, and you all know this, but it doesn't lessen the pain of it. I know that a lot of you have incredibly special connections and bonds that you've built with the individuals that you have supported often for years. And I just, again, my heart goes out to all of our team members that experience that sense of loss. And my heart goes out to the family members. And if there's one thing that I'm grateful for in the midst of all this, it's that the individuals that we support, when they do pass, they pass knowing that they've been loved and cared for by people that love and care for them. I mean, and that's such a meaningful, just a meaningful gift that we can give to people, who maybe towards the end of their life and getting ready to transition. So again, I'm so thankful for each and every one of you and how you care for people, and especially care for people when they're going through dark times and times that could even be the times where they could be passing away. So at this time, let's just take our moment of silence, just reflect on our team members who are on the front lines, our team members who have tested positive, and are certainly the people we support that have tested positive, and those that are hospitalized. And then also let's remember Clyde, as well as remember Patsy. So if you join with me. Okay, thank you for that time and for holding them in your hearts and in your thoughts. So, okay, so just in transitioning, some good news in programs, things that we want to highlight certainly every week. I've got some staff shout outs that I want to share. So I'm going to pull those up so that you can hear them and I can read them. Really, really, really cool. So the first one is from Cherry Webb down in Tennessee. And this is cool. These are family members that have reached out to Cherry and others just to share their gratitude for the work that's happening in supporting their loved ones. And so the first one is from family member Beth Boone. And she says, is the text, I just wanted to thank you guys for all you do to keep our Donald safe. I can't imagine how hard it must be to keep these very social folks in check during this troubling time. We are so happy to have St. John's and your compassionate staff caring for Donald. And then this one is from Jackie. I need to play the glad game that SJCS is protecting our population. I'm so thankful for supports and services, but I have a connection to him different from anyone else, and it's killing me. She's obviously talking about being away from her loved one. I'm just going to drink this cold beer and not think about it. I can't imagine Mother's Day without him, but that might be the case. Love you, Cherry. And then another one from Jackie. Staff have been wonderful to let me call the iPad at home and talk to him. I know, that's awesome. So thankful for technology. Do you think they'll let it before June? So just again, their family members are so grateful for how we're trying to find creative ways to connect. So not only are we caring for people, but we're caring for them too. And we're trying to find creative ways for like the use of technology for them to connect. So Cherry, thank you for sending that along. And then I also got one from Precious, which is really cool. And this is from the mother of a gentleman we support in DC. Her name is Joanne. I would like to take this time to send a shout out to St. John's Community Services for the tremendous job you've been doing for several months during this challenging health crisis. Your residential staff are pushing it to the extra mile by leaving their families and giving 24/7 care to individuals who cannot care for themselves. My son, Terrell, is one of said individuals who's being cared for by Sam and Jennifer at this time. I applaud them and pray for all of them in St. John's as a whole every day. Andrew, their house manager, is doing tremendous work daily, keeping up with numerous housing for all these individuals as best a human being can without complaint that I know of. Thank you so much for the caring work you are doing. With sincere gratitude and thanks, Mrs. J. Brace. So, that's just incredible. I know that we've done surveys as part of CARF accreditation, and that we were regularly trying to get feedback from family members and people that we support. And it speaks so much volumes about how families rave about the support that you're providing. And so I just thank you so much for that. I know that's happening in every place, in New York, in Tennessee, in Delaware, in Virginia, and in DC. So I just want to thank you all for that. That's just awesome, awesome news. So that's good. It's always good to get the feedback from family members that we're doing a great job, especially now. So well done. Just keep it going. It's great. You guys are killing it. And then also we just had another supply run from Tennessee to Virginia. I mentioned that last week. I think it literally just happened the Thursday, the day before town hall last week. And again, just want to thank Dwayne and Josh from the Tennessee side of things, and then Kwaku, Steve, and John from the Virginia and DC side for their willingness to make it happen. These guys get up super early. They load up the supplies. This main U-Haul that came up was full of PPE. That was pretty much the primary PPE and disinfectant supplies that were coming up. So that's incredible. And we've got an awesome video, and I hope that you've checked it out on Facebook. And Dwayne talking about what they're doing and why, and then asking the community to go the extra mile in supporting us during our campaign this month. Because we go the extra mile for people we support and for each other as a team. So check that out on Facebook. Awesome video, awesome job, all. And then hashtag Frontline Fridays today. Today we highlight and celebrate John Hamanu, I believe is how you pronounce his name. He is a DSP for 3 years in Virginia. So John, thank you so much for all that you're doing. And 3 years is incredible time to be a DSP. So thank you for caring so much. And I love this quote. I can do all things through Christ, which strengthens me. And that's Philippians 4:13. So if you go to Facebook and check out hashtag Frontline Friday, you'll see John. There's more about him there. But I think it's amazing. The other thing that I just love is being able to celebrate our diversity. Last week, we were celebrating Mo as a Muslim and his faith. And this week, we're celebrating John and his faith. And all throughout the entire organization, it's just incredible to see people who care and what motivates them. And oftentimes, it is motivating from their faith. And some people that we are blessed to have on our team wouldn't necessarily ascribe to a particular faith, but it's their desire to care for their fellow human and make the world a better place that motivates them and that centers them. And so it's just wonderful for us, I think, to be able to celebrate that diversity. I'm very grateful for that. I'm very grateful for the acceptance that and the inclusion that happens at St. John's on every level, that being one of them. So again, congratulations, John. Thank you so much for being our hashtag Frontline Friday and just being an amazing representative, an amazing DSP. And then other positive news, this is honest to God, just almost a miracle. Like New York, Tennessee, Delaware, still no positives in terms of COVID, which is incredible. Obviously, we're very grateful for that. And again, we have risk. Obviously, I'll talk about that as we reopen, but I just want to thank all the staff. I know that Precious had told me how many, there's literally a couple hundred cases in the IDD community in the DC area. And there's been a number of deaths. I believe there's been something like 23 deaths, I believe. And that's incredible. And so far, we've been fortunate because we have not yet experienced a COVID-related passing. It doesn't mean that can't happen. We can only control so much. But I know that the reason that it hasn't happened yet and the reason that our cases are lower comparatively to other providers is because the lengths that our team goes to in protecting those that they support. And I just want to thank you all for that. It's incredible. And as we get ready to reopen, it's needed even more so because we've got to be very, very careful. So I encourage you all, as places begin to reopen, and that's happening, that's a reality. And I disagree with some of the restrictions that are being lifted in certain places. But our job is to support the individuals to the best of our ability and keep them safe no matter what. And so I just encourage you all to be careful in your own lives. Don't rush back in full tilt to embrace life as we knew it before. I would encourage you in your private lives to continue to practice aggressive social distancing and be careful. That's one way that you can keep the people that we support safe. I don't know if you heard the news this week where in Wisconsin, the state Senate or the Supreme Court there overruled the governor and basically reopened. And so there's a picture of a bar where it looked like it was pre-COVID. It was just slammed with people in zero masks. And I think fortunately they pulled that back, but don't be that person is my ask of you. Be cautious now, as things start to reemerge. Your family's lives depend on it. And I would argue certainly the people that we support, their lives depend on it. And we're in talks right now and communicating with family members, and we're taking pretty strong stances, as strong as are allowed. We've literally been told by some jurisdictions that if a person that we're supporting wants to go out, we need to support them. We need to work through informed consent, and then we need to try to help them practice social distancing. That if homes want to have visitors or family members want to visit, that we have to allow that to happen. But our message to the families is, please be careful about that. Like, don't do that if it's unnecessary because the risk is too high. And in the letter that went to the families or is in process of going to the families, one of the things I say really, really plainly is, hey, I think we've gotten this far and not experienced any deaths because of all the protocols that are in place right now. And I, honest to God, fear for the lives of the people we support as those get lifted and restrictions come off. So I believe we should be protecting our most vulnerable populations, and who we serve are the most vulnerable populations in our communities. So I ask you just to stay focused on that, to practice that in your own life, and then to do your best. I know you're doing your best already because the numbers show that we're doing our best already. So, but just know that leadership team feels that level of urgency and passion and concern around potential reopenings as they're happening right now. And that we'll be working to communicate to whoever will listen to us that we urge caution, that we urge waiting, and that we urge just that health and safety of the people that we support and our team members are paramount. Oh yeah. Continuing with that theme of health and safety and talking a little bit about HR related issues. So this week we launched our first session for our wellness program, which was on healthy ergonomics when working from home. So I know a bunch of people caught that. And then I believe we got the slides and or the video for that. And we'll put that up on staffupdates.org on SJCS site there so that people can watch that if they want to be able to see it. And then this is a big one. We are preparing for open enrollment. Right now we're targeting hopefully the last week of May. And this is important because we need you to do your part, and you've got a couple parts. But here's what you can focus on right now, okay? Go into ADP and please update your information, okay? Make sure that we have your current address. Make sure that we know who your beneficiaries are or your dependents are. And then this is of paramount importance. We need to know your email address, okay? Because if it's the most efficient way for us to get a hold of you as we go through open enrollment. I'll explain that in a second. Also, please make sure that your phone number is up to date. We've got a couple initiatives going on that would be very helpful. One, obviously, is open enrollment. The second is a new text and call and email communication program that we're rolling out in the event of emergencies or to let you know of key events that are happening. And so we'll be doing that by phone, by email. But right now for open enrollment, it's absolutely imperative that you update your information in ADP, that we've got a correct email address, a correct address, and correct phone number. With open enrollment, we are doing what's called active enrollment, which means you have to do something, okay? If you do nothing, the benefits that you have signed up for will disappear, right? They will stop, they will cease because they are on a plan year. So what do you have to do? You have to talk to a benefit specialist. So our partner will have a call center, and one of two things are going to happen. You can call at your leisure when you have time and capacity. You can make that call, and they will walk you through your benefit selection. So they will help you with that through ADP. And then if we don't hear from you in the first week of open enrollment, then they're going to start calling you to try to connect with you and find out what you want to elect in terms of benefits, and making sure that we have your information for beneficiaries and all of those important things. So it's called active enrollment. It will be happening, and please stay tuned for that. But do your part now. Please update ADP. So I promised Rich and HR and state office managers that I would make a big deal about that. And so I'm trying to, and I'm going to continue to do that throughout open enrollment. But thank you for your assistance with that. And then again, just a reminder, even though our cases are low, one of the things that I would just, again, refresh with all of you and reinforce with everyone is that even now it is still very important that when we're working with people we support, that we're wearing masks when we do that. It's really important that if you are exposed to the virus, that you contact your supervisor and follow through with local health department protocols. That's really, really important. In some places, if you now Tennessee is pushing testing for people, I believe, and Precious, you can correct me if I'm wrong here, or George, but I believe that DIDD is making testing available voluntarily for any person that we are supporting with disabilities, and that may extend to staff too. That part I don't know, I don't remember. Precious would be able to answer that probably and drop that in the chat box, and we will certainly spread the news on that so that we're aware of that. So so that could be a good thing if it's available for us to be testing individuals that we support. I know we're doing that here in DC, but where possible, making sure that we access those resources. And then if you are exposed, please contact your manager, your supervisor, and then follow through with return to work protocols. It's important to be able to do that. Okay. And then here in the DMV area, they're actually doing antibody testing, which is really cool. And that's a test that the FDA has said that it's basically, based on the totality of the science, there's reasonable expectation that the test will be effective in finding out whether or not you've been exposed and had the virus. So I know a couple of members of the leadership team have gone. I've gone, went yesterday, went yesterday, found out my results today, ended up being negative. but it's a simple blood draw. It's quick and easy here in the DMV area. You go onto LabCorp, you click the button about antibody testing, you complete some information and register, and then you pick your time to go. And they've got it mapped out pretty well. You literally can drive up, sit in your car, you can check in on your phone via the text that they send you, and then they will text you when they're ready for you. You come in, you give them some information, and then from there, you're able to go ahead. They'll call you back, and you'll be able to have that blood draw. And then within 24 hours, you get your results. I was able to find out that I got my results in less than 24 hours, actually, which is incredible. So I guess the negative about being negative is that I haven't had it, and so there's still a risk that I could get it, I guess. And even though there's no right now, there's no science that tells us that we're immune if we get it and go through it, recover from it. I guess the positive, I think, that I can take away from a negative is that I haven't spread it theoretically to anybody. I haven't had it and spread it. So I think that might be the case. Again, I think we're all still learning about the novel virus, so there's so much going on. But I encourage you, if you're in this region, go through it. It costs $10, and a lot of insurance carriers are also covering it. So it's definitely worth it, so you know. Okay, on the finance front, good news, not much to report. So I find that week to week, if virtually no news at this point is good news. We did receive additional PPP funds, so that's a positive thing. We are starting to figure out how to use those. As I mentioned, it's very complex. And we also experienced one glitch with our Tennessee account where we physically couldn't even, or electronically couldn't even access the funds. So they were there, we could see them, but we couldn't access them. So I believe we're working through that. And then we also have some funds for DC. We signed a promissory note for Virginia as well. So we're hoping to see additional funds come in. And then we've been working with legal counsel and our accountant or our auditor to fully understand how we use them. It's a very convoluted formula, and we have to be careful and be able to track it very diligently and dot every I and cross every T. The goal is to use the funds to their maximum forgivable nature, I guess, to the fullest extent that they can be forgiven, so that we don't have to pay that back. Because remember, they are loans initially when they come in. So our team is working on that. It certainly is helping us to have those dollars available. And we're also working on figuring out how to utilize those as resources for some kind of hazard pay situation, which would run over a course of 6 or 7, maybe 8 weeks time during the time that we have the funds. So we are working on that. There'll be more information on that rolling out. I just want to let you know that those kind of calculations are being done right now, and just understanding how much of that we can use towards that to be able to support our staff during this time, and our staff that have gone through so much. Sorry. And then, everything else is kind of status quo at this point in time. Sherry and the team are doing a great job working with our vendors. We've built a very strong relationship with our vendors through this time, and people are being very understanding about the challenges of cash flow. And so that's helping create some breathing room for us. I want to thank the accounting team. I want to thank the billing team. Again, Jamie's done a phenomenal job. We were in a situation with DC where we had a case with a gentleman where for almost 2 years they had not paid us, which is just incredible. And so we just kept ramping up those communications, and it looks like we're about to close that out and be paid. I just signed off on final invoices for that this morning. And that's literally hundreds of thousands of dollars. So again, the work has been done. We've been supporting this individual. And so, it's great. And again, my thanks to every individual that is kind of a hidden hero in making our kind of machine work and run behind the scenes. And Jamie, you're one of those individuals. There are certainly others involved on the billing side as well. I just thank you all for your efforts. We certainly want to get paid for the work that we're doing. We need the cash coming in the door, and they are making it happen during this really challenging time. So thank you all for that. And then we also are about ready to schedule closing on 2 homes that we're selling in Tennessee, which will generate about $400,000 in revenue as well. So these are initiatives, that are happening. And And when you think about home office, when you think about the integration of the states working together, it's that strength that we have when we work together that enables us to overcome these challenges. And I'm so grateful. I was emailing with someone earlier today and said, I sit back and I marvel at how much our teams have stepped up and worked together. When I first joined St. John's, I don't think it was far-fetched to say that we had a lot of silos going on. And it wasn't that people weren't committed to each other or didn't care about each other or anything like that. And everyone was doing good work. But what we've seen is an integration, a fuller commitment to each other and interdependency, a calling on each other's talents, and it's incredible to watch. And I really have come to believe that all of the challenges that we have faced up until COVID prepared us for COVID, so that we were prepared to pivot and respond and to be able to take our game to a whole nother level. And, I think that was a huge difference maker in us being able to address old billing situations or think about resources and how we could better leverage them for greater return for the organization. And certainly deal with the operational challenges. You think about the supply chain runs and the PPE deliveries back and forth. Like, that's incredible. That is teamwork to the extreme. And I'm just so proud and humbled by everyone's efforts and just by seeing teams at all levels really kick ass. So I just want to thank you all for doing that. I can't say thank you enough. And then on the marketing and development side, let's see what we got going on. Lots going on the marketing and development side. If you haven't seen it yet, please check out Champions in the Crisis and the interview with Ryan Temple. That's happening right now. That's on Facebook. You can go check that out. Excellent interview. Ryan does a tremendous job just talking about leadership and what it's like to lead in this time and the need for heightened communication, closer contact, regular contact with team members, casting vision, keeping close tabs on each other, all of that, and also the need for self-care. And so be sure to check out Ryan. And then I'm working on a special one for next week. Carol Barth. And why I say special, because it's tied to our campaign that's going on right now where we're trying to raise $75,000 through June 5th. And so I'm hoping to have Carol Barth join me Monday for a live interview that will stream, I believe, on Facebook through Zoom. And just asking her why she's been such an ardent supporter of St. John's. And we certainly know some of that story. We support her son, Alex, and have for years, and he'll always be part of the St. John's family, according to Carol. But I want to probe deeper and just help understand the impact of that and have her, in her words, share that. So more details to come on that, but I'm hoping that we launch that live sometime Monday. I'm waiting to hear back from Carol on the best time, the end day that'll work for her. I'm hoping it'll be Monday, but more to come on that. And then I'm putting it on your radar now. We are going to try to make this happen, a special town hall next Friday. And it's going to be special for a couple of reasons. First, we are going to try to do a Zoom town hall. And so I'll send information out on that. And then for about 20 minutes of the meeting or the town hall, we're going to do a Champions in the Crisis interview with Precious and Tony. At least I'm hoping. I didn't see the email back, so I hope I'm not speaking out of turn. But they have an amazing story to share. Obviously, we know some of it, and we'd like to hear more of it from them. And so, and the hope is that we can also stream that live. So that portion, just that portion of the town hall might go live. But I kind of feel like it'd be cool from a Zoom standpoint to have everybody kind of in the room, right? To be able to see Tony and see Precious and have them share their story of what it was like to go through Tony's ordeal and Precious's ordeal with him coming down with COVID, and then the extraordinary story of recovery and what a miracle that was. So more information to come on that. The marketing team has been doing that, and we're going to do one more test on Tuesday for it. But I think we're going to be able to pull it off, and it's going to be a really, really special time. So that's next Friday's town hall. And then we're about a week and a half into Giving Tuesday now. This is our month-long campaign to try to raise $75,000. This is a stretch goal for us. It's the most that we've ever gone after that I know of in one campaign. And remember, there's a 2-to-1 match thanks to the Founders Board. So every gift is essentially tripled. So far, Just on the digital side, we have raised $22,314. That's just straight donations. That does not include the match. So if you think about that, if you triple that, that's around $66,000, $67,000 so far that's been raised. So this is awesome. How you can help, again, just as a reminder, please like and share our posts. Every time you do that, it helps enhance the algorithm that Facebook uses and that other social media platforms use in order to get the message out. And so if you can like and share our posts, that's tremendous. If you are in the position to be able to donate, and I've seen a lot of step donations coming in, thank you so much for being part of this campaign. But if you do donate, know that that is being matched 2-to-1. So your gift is essentially tripled. So again, thank you for your support of that, and keep it coming. I mean, it's really exciting to think that we've raised $22,314 through digital means in just over a week and a half is incredible. I'm not aware that we've ever done that before. And so it's something that we can be very proud of. It's certainly needed resources at this time. So let's keep pushing forward. The board has been issued a challenge as well. We had a board member that gave a $1,000 gift. Him and his wife gave a $1,000 gift and then turned around and challenged the board to either match the $1,000, like to each of them give $1,000, or give a gift higher or lower than that that's significant for their family. And board members have taken that up. So we're seeing their gifts come in as well. So it's really exciting to be raising the level of engagement with the public, to be seeing new donors coming in and supporting our work. And all that is happening, a lot of that is happening because we're starting to kind of work on multiple channels, right? We already know that the service we deliver is phenomenal because of the feedback we get from the families. But now being able to share that story digitally and sharing it through word of mouth, and then having a compelling cause and a compelling story is really increasing people's connection to us. And they should connect with us. We want to find those individuals that care as passionately for the people that we support as they do, as we do, right? So it's all about partnership. It's all about affinity. It's about linking our arms together to ensure that the people that are being supported that either are experiencing homelessness, or that are or that have an intellectual or developmental disability, or that are a senior citizen, that they have the support they need to live their best life. That's what this is about. Well, there's a lot of people out there that hold that value as dearly as we do. We just got to find each other, and so we're working on that, and the more content that we're creating and pushing out is working and connecting with people. So again, I can't stress it enough. Please like and share. Yes, Ryan, a little like goes a long way. So it goes the extra mile, in fact. So anyway, keep that going. Good stuff. Just want to park here for a second and just check in on comments. Cool. A lot of good love going on there. That's awesome. Okay, so I want to kind of pause right here and just do any staff questions that are out there. So if people have questions, I don't believe anything came into the inbox, but if there's questions, can you post them? We'll take a second and just post them in the chat. That'd be great. All right. Any questions? We'll give it another 30 seconds and we'll come back to it. But just want to see if we need to park here and just answer anything right now. Oh, okay. One came in through the inbox. Did you must have sent that to me. Okay. So Ryan, let's see. Hold on a second. All right, so I'm just checking email really quick because we did get a question that came in. All right, hold on. Sorry, I got system issues going on here. Okay, let me just not mess around too much. I think Ryan's posted it in the chat box, so we'll take a look at it. All right. Ryan's question: one of the things I love most about our office is the open floor plan. However, given the advent of COVID-19, are there plans to alter the office to practice social distancing? Thank you, Wanda. So yes, or plans. Yes and no. So what I will say is we're going to be very conservative in reopening. And when we do reopen offices, which we have not officially opened our office, and we will not officially open our offices for anything other than absolutely essential tasks for the foreseeable future. That being said, and Tony makes a great point, the design of the office actually allows for social distancing, which is great. And I can't say that we intended that in light of a pandemic, but we can use it to our advantage. Now, that being said, I'm sure that there are other things that we can do to really work social distancing aggressively in the office when we do go. So we should do that. So there will be more thought put into when it comes time to reopen the offices. What does that actually look like? So I think that answers your question. So there are places obviously within the office where you can separate into actual small rooms. I'm just talking about the DC one. And I know that is the case for other offices in Tennessee and other places. But honestly, I don't see reopening the offices anytime soon. I just I think the risk of that is greater than the reward. And so at this point in time, even though our building is thinking that they're going to open in DC, as an example, in mid-June, I'm hesitant to fully reopen, honestly, until we have a vaccine. I mean, I'm not saying that we can't access the office. I'm not saying that we may not change our minds. But what I'm saying is I can't foresee at this point in time the reward being greater than the risk. And so that's kind of where we are. I know that there are essential functions. Like, as an example, I know our nurses have to go into the office because that's where our meds are. And so that's happening. But I know that they're also practicing heightened social distancing when they're doing that. I know that members of our accounting team, as an example, go into the office, usually one or two at most at a time, and practice social distancing when they're in there. But I get that there are vital, essential functions that have to happen. I just don't see a rush to reopen the office. So, yeah. So anyway, that's kind of my thought on that. One, a good question. I hope I answered that. I've got an anonymous question. Should residential individuals be made to wear masks when going out to work? Well, I think they should be strongly encouraged. They should be informed of the risk of not wearing a mask when going out to work. So this scenario is we're supporting someone residentially, and it sounds like their job potentially has already reopened or is reopening, or maybe never even closed because they're essential. But here's the challenge. We can't require anyone to wear a mask. Now governments can do that. So, some states have taken stances that have said, yes, you must wear masks. But we have to follow that guidance. I know, and it varies state to state. I know New York basically said, no, you got to have a mask. You have to wear a mask if you're going to go into a grocery store, as an example. Other states have done that. I know private businesses have said, hey, don't even come in here unless you've got a mask on. They got signs out the door here in Northern Virginia. But I do not believe that we can require a person that we support to go and wear a mask when they go out. Again, the guidance we've received, the guidance about reopening has mainly come from Tennessee so far, because they're the ones that have technically reopened out of everywhere that we are. And their guidance is basically that the IDD said, listen, if people that you support want to go out into the community, you need to walk them through the risks of doing that, understand the transmission possibilities, and then talk about social distancing and wearing masks and doing all those things. But you have to support them in that. And so that's kind of where the tension is that we were having to manage, to be honest. And it is managing that tension. So I hope I answered that question. But that's kind of where we are right now. Yes, absolutely, Precious. We absolutely should teach and encourage them to follow the orders from local government, so, and modeling. I think role modeling that is crucial too. So anyway, that's where we stand on that. And I think it's important, again, going back to the letters going out to families, again, I would just reinforce, part of the reason that we haven't had a lot of cases, I don't want to say a lot, every case matters. We haven't had as many cases as other providers is because of the protocols that we've put in place and the level of protection that our safety is taken on, that our safety is taken on through our staff. So I fear for our individuals we support as we start to as places reopen. And I think that it's premature to be telling people with underlying medical issues that they should be able to go outside if they want to. I mean, or go into public places if they want to. I think that that's not good health and safety first practice. I read an article in the Washington Post that really says what's happening is that the position that the government seems to be, or that people in general seem to be shifting towards, is one of harm reduction. And harm reduction is a public health policy used for other things, like they use it in a variety of different things, like substance abuse and other different issues. But you're almost saying, well, then we accept that a lot of people are going to get sick, and we accept that a lot of people are going to die. And that's not our official position. We're not going to accept that. So we're going to keep, in some scenarios, communication may be the only weapon we have. And so we got to communicate strongly. We got to communicate to our funders. We got to communicate to the families. We got to communicate to the people we support. We can urge. I don't think we can require. So, and again, follow local guidance, because it is changing. Like the DMV area is being treated totally different than the rest of Virginia, as an example. And in Northern Virginia, they're not going to reopen as quickly as the rest of Virginia. And it's more the surrounding pockets, that DMV around DC, that is kind of regionally looking at their cases, hospitalizations, and also at deaths, and just trying to manage that together. So we'll see where that goes. Okay. Time for 2 fucks to give. And this is my reflection that I wanted to share with you, and I've been thinking about. So some of you know this, not everyone does, but some of you know this. So 6 months ago, this coming weekend, I lost a really dear friend of mine to suicide. So she took her life, and she was essentially a sister to me. So we were just incredibly close, loved her to death, and just a tremendous, tremendous loss. I hope I never experience that again. I hope nobody ever has to go through that with someone. I was there with her wife when the detective informed her wife that she had passed. And some of you know the story that I then went with her wife to Australia to support her in kind of finishing her affairs, because Jamie was from Australia, and just kind of, it was just an inside look to pain that I hope other people don't ever experience through suicide and the loss of a loved one. And then on top of, kind of the anniversary of sorts this weekend, I haven't been able to see my kids physically since mid-March because of the virus, and I've missed them terribly. And one of them's got some challenges that she's working through, and doing that remotely is challenging. Seeing them, we do Zoom, and we talk and text, and we try to do that. But as well as I do, it's not the same, right? So that's a tough thing, kind of just that I'm dealing with, And then there's life in the new normal, right? Like it's no longer. It's still a crisis. It's still the crisis, but it's also shifted after 2 months to being the new normal, I think, at some level. And I know that you, like me, are feeling that. It's, you've heard my kind of joke about it, where, COVID-19, where every day is a week and every night is a weekend, because like you get through the day and things pop up all on the way. And it's so much of it is the change. So much of it is doing things differently. So much of it is how much life has been altered. And it's not even so much the fear of the virus, although we're all taking precautions, but it's just all the change that has come in our lives, and because of it, right? And that burdens everyone, right? Everyone feels that weight, and I know that you all feel that. You know what it is? I read in another article. We're all grieving. We are all in some way, shape, or form grieving the life that was pre-COVID that we've lost. And we're in various stages of that process of grief. And you get through the day, and sometimes, you're working more hours now, and you're getting, 10 times more of the emails or communications or texts or whatever it is. And so you might be actually disconnecting, if that's even possible, later in the day than normal. And then you got to come down from that, right? And that takes longer, right? That takes longer to do, just because it's the level of stress that we are all experiencing right now. And every day is a stressful time. And then we are having to kind of come down from that. So why am I bringing all of these things up? Well, May is Mental Health Awareness Month. And we've talked a lot about the importance of self-care. And it's something that, as a theme, I'm going to keep talking about, especially now, because I know that you all are not unlike me. You all have your challenges. You all have pain in your life. You all have things that you're facing. You all have adversity, and then you also have your job and all the challenges that come with that, and then you're doing everything different in the midst of that, and I just I know that you feel that weight, and sometimes I bet you just feel beat down from it. I bet there's times where you're feeling drained. I bet you where you're feeling depressed. And my encouragement to you now more than ever is take care of yourself, focus on that. And you've heard me talk about our employee assistance program and accessing EAP. And again, I just encourage that information is on ADP, it's on Therap, and it's on our website, sjcs.org/staff updates. And it's totally free, totally confidential. No one will know that you went or talked to, telehealth at this point in time. No one will know that you talked to anybody. And there's such importance to that. And so I urge you, don't hold on to it alone. The other thing that I want to bring up with you, just, I think in honor of my friend, my dear one, Jamie, her life, I would say the National Suicide Prevention Hotline is a resource for any one of us, that if you are in a dark place and you don't have anyone to turn to, please call. And I will put that number in the chat box, but it's 1-800. I just lost it. It's 1-800-273-8255. So 1-800-273-8255. And the thing about that too, again, 24/7 could be the middle of the night and you're by yourself and you're having thoughts of self-harm. Call them, please call them. And I'm encouraging you, be vulnerable, be open, be honest about your feelings. This is a time where things are upside down and we're learning what the new normal is like. And there's a stress that comes with that is not normal, and so I just encourage you, be vulnerable, be willing to share with someone. Listen, you all, I've shared my phone number. If I need to be that person you can talk to, I would be happy to take that call or that text. So, and you've got my number out there, 315-380-3086. But just in honor of Mental Health Awareness Month, in honor of people that we've lost because of mental health issues and depression, I just want to keep talking about self-care, keep encouraging you to access EAP, keep encouraging you to talk to someone that you trust. And if you have no one that falls into either of those categories, then there's always the hotline you can call. And so I encourage you to do that, please. Tony, I just saw your comment. I'm really sorry to hear that about your brother passing. Yeah, that's horrible. I want to tie this in. Okay, so I've been thinking about this principle. I'm going to call it the principle of more or less. Okay, so like you, I had goals this year. Some fitness goals, New Year's resolution stuff. So Meg and I even in COVID, I've been trying to work out, right? And we're trying to either lose weight or tighten up or whatever it is, okay? And we'll once in a while we'll lament to each other, man, I just don't see the difference, and and I feel like I'm riding more miles I've ever ridden. I'm doing more push-ups and sit-ups I've ever done, and she's feeling the same thing. And it really just hit me, at the end of the day, we either have to do more of something or we have to do less of something. So for example, like if I want to see better results physically, I'm either going to need to work out more, or I might have to drink less, eat less, stay up less. I mean, certainly in the midst of COVID, my schedule's changed. I'm staying up much later. I'm not getting up quite as early as I used to. Well, as I stay up later, it's easy for me to consume more. And so with that comes calories and all that fun stuff. So this whole principle of more or less, right? So you got to kind of balance the scales there in some way, shape, or form. So now I want to apply more or less to our mental health, right? So if I am feeling down or you're feeling down, if I'm feeling depressed or drained, right? What can I do more, either do more of or less of that will help, right? So what can we do? What can we do more of or less of that will help? And again, I come back to maybe you can do more exercise. Maybe you can go outside more. Maybe you can make a point of making weekly connections or even more frequent connections with people you love. Maybe those are things you can do more. Maybe you can spend time meditating or in prayer, reading. I mean, whatever feeds your soul, you might need to do more of that during this time, right? Whatever centers you, you might need to do more of that. And then there are things that maybe you and I need to do less of, so if we're feeling drained and feeling down, maybe we have to be careful about how much we drink, because that's a depressant, right? And that can take us to places that maybe we wouldn't otherwise go if we were more sober-minded. Maybe we need to watch less TV because maybe that drains us and we just kind of escape, and there's nothing wrong with, binge watching shows and enjoying them, but too much of that could be challenging, could create some issues, so I guess try to apply this principle of more or less to us all, right? Personally, while we're working through these challenging times, and especially as I'm thinking about Mental Health Awareness Month, I think that this is important. And then here's the thing that I want to do. I want to do a COVID challenge with you all, okay? So my question for you right now is, could you put in the chat box ways that you have done good for others during this time, right? Ways that maybe you've blessed others during this time. So let's throw some examples. Put yourself out there. Put something in the chat box of a way that you have done good to somebody else, done good for others during the last couple of months in the midst of COVID. Okay, so let's get some examples out there. Let's see. Examples of ways that you've done good for others during this time. Who's going to be first in the chat? Awesome. Paid another person's grocery bill and rent. Great example. Cash App. Helping your sister-in-law move. Dropped off supplies to others. That's awesome. A couple of things that Meg and I have done is we've made a point of always trying to have extra cash on us. And anytime that we do like takeout, either paying giving an extra as generous a tip as we can to the person that's delivering or the person that we're getting it curbside from, just to like thank them for being open and helping them out during this time. Other things that we've done is we live in an apartment building here in Old Town, and we've got a handful of people that we know and love, and we will be dropping off surprise gifts outside their door. So I'd ordered a case of disinfectant from a distillery in upstate New York that I like, and they had turned everything over to making hand sanitizer. So I ordered a case of it, and then we made these little gift baskets and dropped them off at different places, just to do good and bring a smile to somebody's face. And we've made different, let's see, there's another thing that we've done where we've got these things. So these are adult coloring sheets, so we've got, well, you can read that one. We've got this one, Koido, bring your own roll. And so that'll go in the gift basket too. And we send some of those out. So, we're just trying to, we're trying to do good for others. But here, I want to connect it because as you do good for others, there is research. I was doing some reading on this afternoon. There is research that shows the value of doing good for others. Okay, so the power of doing good to others. Here's some of the things that are the benefits. It decreases your stress. It actually increases your life expectancy. It helps us all, it helps make us feel better. It makes us happier at work or with our work. It promotes mental health, leads to general happiness, and motivates you to do good again. So my point is, I think you get where I'm going here. So we're in a time of extraordinary change and extraordinary stress, and we're human beings having to deal with this. And on top of that, we're dealing with all the other stuff, all the baggage and life stuff that we had already that we were carrying, right? And in honor of Mental Health Month, my COVID challenge to you is, when you think about more or less, do more of doing good to others, because the benefit to them is phenomenal, but it also is going to help you deal with this time. And it's going to give you joy in different ways that you would normally experience. So my COVID challenge to you, and to myself and to us, is to, whatever you would normally do this week, add another event to it. Kind of the random acts of kindness thing, the power of doing good to others. Let's be known for that, as an organization, as individuals. And I want to check in next week and find out, what did you do differently this week that was doing good and a blessing to other people. So that's my $2 to give, and I hope that it helps others in some way, shape, or form. So that's kind of what I've got for this afternoon. I'm reading through the chat because I want to get some ideas of things I could do this coming week that are different than what I've been doing. But again, my encouragement to all of you, just let's take it up a notch, because I think in doing good to others, it's going to help us deal better with the circumstances around us. So it's a blessing to them, but we also, I think, receive a blessing from it when we do it. So that's a positive thing. And we all need that right now. So any other questions, please drop them in the chat box. I'll hang out for another 5 minutes. And I know we went over about 10. My apologies for that. But and be sure to join us next Friday for a very special town hall. Promise you do not want to miss it. It's going to be very inspirational. But if you have any questions, please drop them in the chat box. We'll try to get answers for them. And I'm just reading through the different things that were in the chat right now. Dropped off groceries for family, provide food to family. To a family with no food. Wow. Shipped masks and cleaning supplies to those at risk, like the elderly. Volunteered time to provide food to families in need. See, you guys are all here. You guys are all amazing heroes. Paid half of someone's rent. Checked out my elderly neighbor. That's huge. And doing donations. Sent money to people not expecting it. That's awesome. Invited people to dance with each other. Dance parties. That's awesome via Zoom. So cool. Checking in on neighbors. Mowing lawns. Awesome. Picking up groceries for elderly neighbors. That's incredibly important right now because it limits their risk, right? That's awesome. Care packages. Paying it forward. Oh, that's cool. Paying for the car behind you. That's great. Oh, telling frontline folk, I appreciate you. I've tried to do that too. That's a great one. Yeah. Just I've tried to actually strike up more conversations. Like, when going through the grocery line, just asking like, how are you today? And like, thank you for being here. I think we're all getting a great lesson in the people, the essential worker. We were getting a lot of lessons in gratitude, hopefully. And hopefully, as we reopen, we re-engage differently and with more empathy and grace. And I hope that happens. I hope that happens for all of us. Pray to encourage others. I think that's awesome. Brittany. Yeah, that's good too. Sometimes that's a good one. Less COVID talk. Talk about applying the more or less principle. Having discussions that are not anything about COVID. That's great. Great. Oh, Tony, that's really special too. That's really cool. Yeah, those words of encouragement. That's huge. Let's see. We got a couple more minutes. Again, this will be made available up on our website, sjcs.org/staff updates. So be sure to let other staff, team members know that it's up there. It's usually available the same afternoon. And I'm glad to see people are watching. We had almost triple the number of people that were able to attend in person last week, watch it since then, just on YouTube. So that's awesome. That's great. Yeah, thank you for putting that up there, Ryan. Appreciate that. Very cool. Cool. Couple minutes left. Anyone have any big plans for the weekend? Thank you for the text. I just want to thank you all. You've been such a tremendous encouragement to me. Professionally, of course, I'm very proud and humbled by your efforts and how you represent our organization, how you make our organization. But then you've personally reached out in various ways, shapes or forms, and I really appreciate the encouragement. I know that I'm a believer in prayer, and I know that people are out there praying. I've always said I know we're not a faith-based organization, but I believe that I know we are a faith-filled one. That there are people of all walks of faith that hold that dear to them and try to live their lives with those values. And I appreciate that encouragement. I just want to thank you all for that. And I appreciate everyone that's working so hard and going the extra mile, certainly, and then also volunteering to shelter in place. And then I also want to just thank those that have given. I know oftentimes that's sacrificially to SJCS. So I thank you for doing that and for your gifts. All right, so 3:45. So we're gonna keep the momentum going this week, right? In honor of Mo and in honor of all we support. And we will catch up next Friday for a very special edition of the Town Hall. So be on the lookout for a special invite for that, and it'll be a fun time. So take care, everyone. Have an awesome weekend. Stay safe, stay healthy, and be well.